Today, I'm going to introduce you guys to two very different vintage Tudors. Let's do it. What is up, watch fam, and welcome to In the Metal / Value in Vintage Watches / our Untitled series, where we pick out a couple of the watches from the current Theo and Harris inventory and dive into them. The reason we got so involved in vintage watches to begin with was because we found ourselves as hobbyists so passionate about them, right? This business as a curator was really the only way, apart from maybe winning the lottery, that I would have been able to come across such interesting, different, often remarkable watches so frequently. So in this series, where we take a step back from current events and really kind of dive into the past again, is awesome. So let's do it. The first watch we've got here is a Tudor reference 94-500. It's a Tudor Date-Day. Date-Day sounds a lot like Day-Date because it is the more affordable Tudor equivalent of Rolex's Day-Date. The Rolex Day-Date was introduced in the mid-20th century by, of course, Rolex, and only offered in precious metal. It was the first watch ever made to feature the day of the week in full text, and from that technical accomplishment to its cultural kind of importance as this solid gold watch that only leaders of the world wore, there grew this international allure. Many years later, in trying to ride the wave of that massive success, Rolex, through their subsidiary company Tudor, released this, the Date-Day. Now, enough history, let's actually talk about what we have here in the metal. Like I said, it's a reference 94-500. It dates to 1984, and there are two variables here that are really special, two variables that you should definitely take note of. First is its remarkable blue sunburst dial. This is not a color that Rolex or Tudor utilized too often, and now, many years later, it's probably the most collectible color because it rides the line of kind of fun and still formal and serious so well. I mean, look at this freaking dial. It totally explodes, and I love the way the custard tritium patina complements it. I think it goes so well. Second is the condition, which is absolutely remarkable. The word untouched or unpolished gets thrown around quite a bit, but in this example, it's absolutely true. The original finishing is present throughout, from the bezel to the lugs to the bracelet. No stretch. I mean, the bracelet is totally mint. That is, say uncommon would be an understatement. Everything about this watch is as it was when it left the factory in 1984. You can even see the original sticker bearing the Tudor mark and the reference on the case back. So yeah, being able to own this watch is pretty exciting for me. As a lover of oyster cases, Tudor blue dials, it reminds me of my own personal Datejust. So let's go back in time a little bit to something that is completely different. Really, the only commonality here is one, the brand as Tudor, and two, the oyster case. But in nearly everything else in form and function, this watch is totally different. It's a Tudor Oyster Prince, and really, it's the original Explorer. As many of you may know, Rolex has a pretty deep history in providing watches specifically for exploratory purposes or military purposes, like the Rolex Military Submariner, which they made 2 mil-spec for the British MOD. You've got the Rolex Chronograph 1625, which was made specifically for the Thunderbird pilots. And of course, you've got the Explorer, a watch that has become globally synonymous with charting the uncharted. Right? It's become the symbol of exploration. And while modern explorers are beautiful, there is something so special about finding a watch that is not just built on the legend, but is in fact that legend. So this particular Oyster Prince, it was a model that was issued to a team of 26 medical and military personnel on the British North Greenland expedition, which took place between 1952 and 1954. The personnel were there to study climate and geology, glacial activity, and living conditions for military purposes. This watch actually is an explorer. So for a Rolex / Tudor geek like me, it's kind of weird to even be in its presence. And the only reason that it isn't totally unaffordable and unattainable is because it's Tudor instead of Rolex. I mean, it's the epitome of a tool watch, a real travel companion. Think about it. Rolex / Tudor was comfortable enough to send this watch to be relied upon on an extremely important government-funded exploration. That says a lot. And frankly, even putting all that history behind us, the watch is just freaking beautiful. I mean, a traditional Explorer dial, you've got pink gold indices, matching hands, and even radium burn. That's the kind of condition this piece is in. And it's got a blue second hand. Look at that. The way that it kind of plays with the pink gold numerals is gorgeous. Geeks, thank you so much for stopping by, hanging out, and allowing me to talk watches with you. Head on over to the watch shop at theoandharris.com, which I have personally curated for a closer look at these and other watches. And if you do fancy yourself a watch collector, I definitely recommend you check out our watch rolls, the Mare and the Crosby. They're pretty mint. See you guys soon.